we cannot count out the Miami Heat as we get closer and closer to the 24 and 25 NBA season. This is the Heat Report by Chat Sports. I am Nic Rohloff. And although I have been a little negative on the Miami Heat in the past in terms of them not making any offseason moves to really improve this roster, I do think people are a little too harsh on this Heat team. And I wanted to first bring this point up here by Las Vegas. They have the Heat win total for this upcoming season set at 80 or 44.5. And I thought that was an intriguing line to me because that feels a little bit low for a Heat team that I still think has a lot of good players and obviously has the best coach in the NBA on it. And I think that's a little disrespectful, if you will. Like, 44.5 wins would be among the lowest of the Heat's tenure with Jimmy Butler. And I think the media in sportsbooks just completely writing off the Miami Heat is a little short-sighted, if you will. Like, this is still a Heat team that has been a top 2 team in the Eastern Conference over the last 5 years, considering that they've been to the finals in 2 of those seasons and been in the Eastern Conference finals in 3 of the last 5 years. And when you think about the Vegas win total that they put up of 44.5, like, that to me feels a little free money, is it not? If you take the over, just think of what the Heat have done every single year since they did that sign and trade for Jimmy Butler in the 2019 offseason. Last year, even as the 8th seed, they won 46 games. The year prior as the 8th seed, 44 games. 21-22 when they were the best team in the Eastern Conference, 53 wins. And then these 2 years, 40 wins and 44 wins. But remember, folks, these were not full 82-game seasons. They only played 72 here, and they only played, what was that? I don't know. They cut off the end of the season because of the bubble, but you get the point. There is still, or they didn't play the last 9 games. That's what it was. But that's the thing. They win 1 game in the last 9. They would have hit the over there. And then here, I think they would have gotten 4 or 5 wins in the final 10 games, and they only played 72. So my point is that they have only missed or not gotten above 44.5 wins 1 time since joining Jimmy Butler. To me, it feels pretty safe to say they might be able to hit that mark, and that's where this question comes in. Make your guess, folks. Over or under 44.5 wins for the Miami Heat. Type O for over, type U for under. I don't know if you want to place money on it, but you can. But if you want to do no money spent on it, you can just make your predictions right here. If you couldn't tell, I am definitely leaning towards the over. Like I said, the Miami Heat have failed to get 45 wins, which is what they would need to cash an over ticket once in 5 years, because they would have gotten it in both the shortened years. They would have gotten 1 win in 1920 out of the final 9 games they would have played, and they would have gotten 5 wins out of the final 10 games in 21-22. So if they went 5-5 down that stretch, guess what? They're a 45-win team. And I have, to be honest, newfound faith in the Miami Heat. I don't know why. I don't know how to explain it to you. I tweeted out drunk on the bar over the weekend that the Heat are going to win the NBA Finals and you can't tell me anything about it. That might have been a little aggressive. But I do believe this Heat team is actually going to be better than what people think. And I think I just might have been caught in all of the whirlwind of like the Heat not making a move, other teams making moves like the Knicks and Sixers. But I do still believe this Heat team is going to be better than what people think. And I'll tell you why I have faith in this Miami Heat basketball team. Number 1, they still have 2 top 20 players in the NBA in Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo. And I know a lot of Heat fans have been critical of Jimmy Butler over the past year and a half or so due to his injuries and not playing full force in the regular season. I get those concerns, but I still believe he is a top 20 player in the NBA. And I went through an exercise on my own, basically ranking my top 20 players. And no, I did not put them any particular order. I didn't think about it and try to rank them. I just kind of thought of who I believe is top 10 players in the NBA. This is my list. I don't think Bam or Jimmy is a top 10 player in the NBA. I think that would be a little bit too aggressive. But they definitely come into the next portion of my rankings. I think LeBron, AD are still up there. Booker's there. D-Mitch is there. I think Jimmy and Bam are on this list with Tyrese Maxey, Kawhi, Jaylen Brown, and Paul George. And sure, there are some players that maybe you can argue should be on this list, like Victor Wembanyama entering year 2, Tyrese Halliburton. There's definitely a lot of players that could could be in the top 20 discussion. But with Bam and Jimmy Butler's track record, I do believe they are still top 20. And I would even consider taking out Paul George, Jaylen Brown on this top 20 list. And to me, you can debate if they are top 20, if they're not top 20. There is this guarantee. One of them is a top 20 basketball player in the NBA, but I believe both of them are top 20. And if you have two players that are in the top 20 on the same basketball team, you have a chance to compete. That is just simple. You have your duo. If they're healthy, they stay on the floor, they are good enough to keep the Miami Heat in basketball games regardless of who else is on the roster. Yes, we always want that third guy and a better fitting piece around them too. But if Jimmy and Bam are healthy, they're always going to have a chance to win a series and a basketball game. It also helps when you have the best coach in the NBA. That is another reason why I have faith in this Heat team being better than what other people are giving them credit for. And this one's self-explanatory, right? I don't really have to try to convince you guys or provide you with any other background information on why I think Erik Spoelstra is the best coach in the NBA. He has done the most with the least rosters. He handled the Big Three era. He kept the Heat competitive post-Big Three with rosters that I promise you were not that good. And then obviously have gotten to 2 NBA finals and gotten to 3 Eastern Conference finals over the past 5 seasons. Erik Spoelstra is the best coach in the NBA, and that is not even close. More to talk here, but make sure you are subscribed to the channel because we have Heat breakdowns, news, rumors, watch parties, live shows. We do it all here at the Heat Report by Chat Sports. Hit that sub button, join the rocket ship. Let's get the 14K sub soon. All right, third reason why I have faith. Triple J, Jaime Jaquez Jr., and Nikola Jovic. I think they're going to take leaps. And leaps may be strong. I don't expect them to go from high-level role players to NBA All-Stars anytime soon. But they are better than what people think on the outside if you're looking in. Just think about what they did last season. Jaime Jaquez Jr. was a rookie. He came in, was the second or third best rookie. No, he was the third best rookie. Because I don't count Chet Holmgren as a rookie, but I'd have him as 3. I'd put him behind Brandon Miller and behind Victor Wembanyama. But Jaquez was terrific last year. He impacted the Heat in a massive way. He was one of the most important players on this Heat team last year because he was always there to cover up when Jimmy Butler was missing time or Tyler Hero was missing time. And then Nikola Jovic, who was in his second season, he flashed, and it really was his rookie year after not playing in the NBA at all as a rookie. So to me, these two guys are going to continue to get better. And there are 2 main points I want to make with Jovic and Jaquez. Jaquez has to improve on one thing offensively. If there's anything he can improve on, it's his three-point shooting. He shot 32.2% last year, and he shot 34.4% on catch-and-shoot three-point situations. Those numbers need to increase. He needs to become at least a 35-36% three-point shooter, with the catch-and-shoot numbers being closer to 37-38%. But I'd also like to see him become more of a creator and be able to lead a second-team offense if Jimmy Butler's on the floor or on the bench. And Jovic, he needs to get better on the rebounding aspect. He's 6'10", he's 6'11". There's no reason why he should not be averaging more closer to 6-7 rebounds a game. It should not be at 4.2. And he needs to get better defensively as well. The reason why he doesn't play down the stretch in these close fourth quarter games is because Erik Spoelstra trusts other players to be better on the defensive end and on the glass. If it was just strictly offense and fit next to Jimmy and Bam, Jovic would be on the floor for 30-plus minutes a game. But if he's able to get stronger, which allows him to get better in the glass and better defensively, you have to watch out because Jaime Jaquez Jr. will improve and so will Nikola Jovic. Reason number 4 is that you have playoff risers, and this is so important when you're trying to compete in the NBA. We've seen countless players put up unbelievable good regular seasons and then kind of shit down their leg when they get to the postseason. The Heat's top 2 players don't do that, and I looked at Bam and Jimmy's playoff stats compared to the regular season stats since 2019. And yes, Bam's statistics do technically take a little bit of a dip, but this is kind of one of those things where even though the numbers go down slightly just by a point, half a rebound, half an assist, a little bit of a steal, the field goal percentage stays the same basically, like it's still impressive that Bam is able to still do these things given his workload on the defensive end of the floor. To me, even though the numbers go down ever so slightly, that's not an indicative on Bam being a playoff dropper. It's tougher to get buckets. It's tougher to stay consistent with your regular season averages in the postseason. So to me, I think this is still good stuff, and we just see it on the eye test. Bam shows up in big games. But Jimmy Butler's numbers are absolutely sensational with the Miami Heat. Since 2019, we see the regular season numbers on the left, and we get it. We've talked a lot about how he doesn't give max effort at times for the Miami Heat in the regular season, but we know what he does in the postseason. Look at that elevation in his 64 games in a Heat uniform, averaging 24.7 points per game, nearly 7 rebounds, same assist. The three-point percentage takes a massive jump up here to 34.3%. Jimmy Butler is arguably the number one playoff riser in the Eastern Conference right now, and it's so awesome to see, and it's why I was so bummed to see him get hurt in that play-in game against the 76ers, because I believe that he would have had another good postseason, because in that first quarter against Philly, he was absolutely dominant with 10-plus points and had 2 or 3 steals. If that ankle injury never happens, man, I think we would talk about a different playoffs for Miami. And either way you want to slice it, when your 2 best players stay the course or rise in the biggest moments, which we've seen Jimmy and Bam do countless and countless times, going back to the bubble, back to the 8th seed magical run to the NBA Finals, it gives you an edge because other players cannot do that. Just look around the NBA. Joel Embiid, he drops. Giannis Antetokounmpo, he kind of drops a little bit. He had that good run in 2021 when they won the finals, but outside of that, he drops in the postseason. Paul George drops in the postseason. Like, not many players can rise to the occasion like Jimmy and Bam can do, and that does give you the edge in these high-pressured situations that the Heat always find themselves in. One last reason to talk about here in a second, but make sure you do get some Team USA gear. They took home gold. Bam Adebayo and Erik Spoelstra were both on Team USA when they beat France in that gold medal match a week ago, but you can still represent that special team that brought home the gold with chatsports.com/Team USA. It's got every single player that was on the team pictured. Bam Adebayo's in the far left if you're looking here, but on the shirt it would be top right. Either way, represent USA, represent Bam and Erik Spoelstra and their accomplishment this summer. Final reason, Kel'el Ware. He gives you a real backup center. And I think this is very important for the Miami Heat because we've seen the Heat struggle when Bam Adebayo goes to the bench in the last 4 or 5 seasons, ever since he's become the full-time starter for Miami. And the fact that we don't have to deal with these 4 guys anymore is absolutely incredible. Cody Zeller was so bad. The fact the Heat were able to make the finals with Cody Zeller on the team is unbelievable. When he had to play against Nikola Jokic, it was the hardest watch that I have ever had. Myers Leonard back in 2019-20 wasn't very good either. I don't even want to talk about Dwayne Dedmon. That was an absolute joke. And although Thomas Bryant's still on the team, he's really like the 4th-string center. Think about it. Bam, Ware, Love, Bryant. Like, I don't know why TB's even on this team. We've talked too much about it. But either way, we don't have to watch these 4 guys back up Bam Adebayo anymore. And that's kind of my thing, right? Like, even Kel'el Ware, if he takes his lumps as a rookie, it's going to be pretty difficult for Kel'el Ware to be worse than the backup centers we have had for Bam Adebayo over the last 5 years. Like, if he's worse than those guys, then we have a serious problem on our hands. But after just watching Summer League, I think we can safely say that's not going to be the case because that was before he even got into a full weight training program with the Heat staff and was practicing with the real NBA players and getting real NBA game action. So I'm pretty confident that Kel'el Ware will not be worse than those guys. And I know you guys are excited for Kel'el Ware, so am I. Let me know how excited you are for Ware to be a Heat debut and be the backup center for Bam Adebayo. Scale 1 to 10. I think I'm going to see a lot of 10s down below because that's where I'd scale it as well. And to kind of route on the show, I've talked about why I think the Heat can't be counted out, but the Eastern Conference is tough. There's no denying that. The Celtics, Sixers, and Knicks are the heavy favorites in the Eastern Conference, although they should be. Celtics are reigning champions. They got their whole roster coming back, although Porzingis is going to miss quite a bit of time to begin the season. The 76ers add Paul George and a bunch of other good players around Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey. The Knicks re-sign OG Anunoby, bring in Mikal Bridges via trade. The Pacers, they're looking to run it back after they made the Eastern Conference. The Magic, getting Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, getting bleeps from Paolo Banchero and Franz Wagner is interesting. And then the Cavs and Bucks are still there too, so there's no denying it's going to be a competitive Eastern Conference, but if everything works out for Miami and Jimmy stays healthy and gives you good effort in the regular season, you get the leaps from Jaquez, Jovic, Tyler Hero stays healthy for the most part. Terry Rozier gets a full year in the Heat system. There's no, denying that the Heat could possibly be the 4 or 5 seed in the East, which all it takes is one playoff series to make some noise and maybe change things around. So I do think there's a way for the Heat to really compete this year in the Eastern Conference. Winning the NBA Finals might be aggressive, but I do think they will be better than what people in the media space are giving them credit for, and certainly Las Vegas with that disrespectful 44.5 win line. All right, that's going to do it for today's show. Make sure you're following over on Twitter. @Nic_Rohloff is my handle. We're talking about the Heat every single day. If you have an issue with anything I said, you can go message me over on Twitter as well. I'm not afraid to respond and chop it up. So go give me a follow. As always, see you tomorrow with another video. Go Heat.